Hi everyone, and welcome to Multiplies webinar. Multiplies is a company which is helping startup entrepreneurs from all over the world to join the Vision 2030 government program in the Gulf and build sustainable future in the region which was traditionally dependent on oil and gas industry. We're helping companies to raise seed and Series A from $2.5 million to $10 million, this in the region. We also help companies to build partnerships in the region. My name is Ginia Hasis. I'm the founder at Multiplies. I'm also angel investor in several deep tech companies and LP in several venture capital funds. And I'm also a big advocate of female entrepreneurship and supporting women founders and investors. Today, we are going to talk about the topic of cracking the Saudi Arabia funding code. And the fact is, in 2024, in Saudi was deployed around $1 billion total in venture capital industry. And to discuss this, I invited two experts to talk about this topic and share their feedback on pitch decks that all of you people who were registered at this webinar sent to us during this week. So the format that I propose for you today is that first, I really want to introduce our speakers and get acquainted with everyone. And then after that, I will ask several questions to my speakers, my guests, about the development of Saudi Arabia ecosystem and venture capital industry. And then after that, we will go to Pitch Deck Roastery. We chose 3 companies that we want to talk about today. And then after that, I will open the floor for discussion, questions, and so on. So I hope that you will like our agenda today. And let's start, Abdullah, with you. Please introduce yourself. Please share your expertise and why are you here today?
Thank you, Gina, and salam alaikum, everyone. Glad to be on this platform, and I thank the team and Multipliers to invite me to be some sort of help, which I hope. So my experiences has shifted from various sectors, from media to institutional investment sector to medical research, arbitration, and now government entities. I have worked on several startups. I advise several startups on their funding mechanisms, their presentations, their pitch, what should they look for, and what, let's say, pitfalls they should avoid. Uh, so I've been around the startup environment for the past around 10 years. Uh, and that's kind of the gist what I have, and I'll leave the floor to you, Jeannie.
Thank you. I see that there is a lot of people here from different countries. I see that someone from New York. It's very early right now. Hi, from Cyprus, from Pakistan, from India. And guys, please ask questions in the chat. I will be happy to go over all of them later. And right now, let's move to Basil, to you. Please introduce yourself and share a little bit of your expertise.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Thank you, Gina, for inviting me to participate in this important webinar. And I'm really sorry about Tatiana. I hope and I wish her a speedy recovery. I am from BMG Financial Group, which is the first investment bank in Saudi Arabia. We specialize in raising money through the public offerings route or through private offerings. And we cover a wide spectrum of transactions, from well-matured businesses to startups and in the AI and technology-driven companies. We are very active in the Saudi market. I'm in Jeddah today, but we have also another office in Riyadh. But also, we are very active in the European continent as well as Asia. We have clients from these countries.
Great, thank you, Basil. I see that there are some people here from Saudi as well. Maybe you guys already know everything, but I really want to start from a maybe very generic question. But for people from United States, from Europe who are joining us today, it will be very interesting to know about the program Vision 2030. And maybe you can just go over specifics of this program, why and what is it, what is the goal of this program? And Abdullah, let's start with you. Give us some feedback and your opinion about this program and what is it actually about?
Well, this is an important question, to be honest. And for me, I believe the Vision 2030 has turned the country into a startup. So the country became a startup in itself. The levels of development, of changes, of innovation that is happening due to that shift in paradigm from the mentality of a regular government to the mentality of uh, turning a country into a startup, having a mission, having a shared vision, having set goals, KPIs that we need to drive ourselves for it. That has changed unsurmountable amount of social, economic, cultural. The list goes on and on and on. Uh, and that's how I see that vision is driving everything forward. And I cannot wait for the next Vision 2040 and see what that might bring to us at the time. And that's what I see right now in the vision and how it's growing. The number of startups, the number of VCs, they never existed in this number 10 years ago or 9 years ago. Even when people start their ideas, if they bring a pitch and they say, I have an experience in this in 2019, and they talk about it now, I say, Saudi Arabia in 2019 is not Saudi Arabia in 2025. It's a totally different country. It's past that point. Uh, so that's what I see and how I evaluate the vision or the program affecting everything within the country.
Thank you, Abdullah. My next question, Basil, is to you as a person who has such an extensive expertise in capital market transactions and IPOs and M&As. How do you see fintech sector is transforming with Vision 2030?
Well, as you may know, fintech is becoming one of the uh, cornerstones of the financial services in Saudi Arabia. There is even a very sizable department within the central bank to incubate and to prepare certain companies to be licensed. So obviously, this is a new era that we are experiencing. And in addition to what Abdullah said, the PIF became a driving force in speeding up and enabling entrepreneurs and certain institutions to support and to develop the fintech business in the country. Not to mention, major organizations that are part of the ecosystem of the government to support fintech in the country. So fintech is becoming a very important economic driver in the financial space, and the capital market is now started to list these companies on the stock market, starting with Namu, and then they will be eventually upgraded to the main market.
Thank you, Basil. My next question is Abdullah to you. What makes it so interesting for global companies to raise capital in Saudi Arabia right now? Why it is so attractive?
Well, Saudi Arabia, if you allow me, it's kind of in the middle of three continents. So you have Africa, Europe, and Asia. And it gives you direct access to MENA region. more specifically. On top of that, if you bring in innovation or innovative solution, usually people who picks up these innovations or use these new tools are young people. And Saudi Arabia has over 50% of its population under the age of 30. So when you bring an innovative solution and you start it in Saudi Arabia, that means the chances of that startup or that solution to succeed, to pick up the speed of development that it could have, is much higher than other regions. And that's why it would be an extremely good place as a proof of concept of your solution. If you bring something innovative and new and you have this young population who's willing and likes to try new things and it doesn't succeed, that gives you an indicator that you have something to change. But in other countries that might not. But at the same time, once you develop, you have a huge scope that you can actually cover. So yes, the population in Saudi Arabia is 35 million, but if you prove that concept of young people picking it up, that means you have the accessibility to the MENA region, which is around 450 million or 500 million. So it is pivotal for you, especially if you're pioneering something new, something different, never been done before. Uh, it is the place for you to be.
Thank you, Abdullah. Basil, as an expert in fundraising, you helped a lot of businesses to close, I think, different checks, right? Can you please tell us exactly what are the essential factors for companies to showcase in order to raise capital in Saudi?
Well, to start with, they need to have a clear feasibility study. That's going to be the foundation for any fundraising exercise. If the we don't deal with startups that much, but we deal with companies that have been in business for a certain number of years. So we review the evaluations of these companies and give our own version of the more fair value of these companies. And then obviously we need to do the KYC fit and proper. We need to ensure that the management is in place. The management is very, very important, by the way. We need to know who is running the show, who is second in command. The financial matters are well covered. So once we conclude all of that, and then we obviously, if we are going through the IPO route, then there is a certain process that we have to follow under the rules and regulations of the Capital Market Authority. If it is a private placement, be it local or international, we just need to get the no objection by the authorities, and there are certain requirements that we have to fulfill to get the no objection from the authorities.
Yes, thank you very much. I really want to discover right now a topic of partnerships. And I've been living in Gulf for 3 years right now, and I see some of the companies, they don't understand what actually this region is looking in terms of partnerships, because there is different mentality, different working culture. And Abdullah, I really want you to touch base on this point, and probably you can give the example of great partnerships between global companies in Saudi that you witnessed and probably got inspired with. And maybe you can also recommend some global companies how to build these partnerships in the region, from where to start with.
Thank you for that question. Honestly, there's always going to be a cultural difference, whether even if you are in the Gulf region. Yes, we are the same, we're all close to each other, but there will be differences. So you have to have the mentality of accepting these differences. That's one. Two, you have to know these partnerships. So partnerships is not really joining with the money and let's do this together. No, it's a relationship that you need to cultivate, and for both sides to accept these differences and have a clear goal. So if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, that will cause a bit of a headache or a problem. So you need to know what exactly are you trying to achieve from this partnership, and how it should be, how does it need to look, what form. So if you put that in all clarities and complete understanding, that gets you in a much better standing. As for successful partnerships in Saudi Arabia, most of the companies right now that were in Saudi Arabia until recently are partnerships. Uh, you can mention any of them. Microsoft was a partnership with a Saudi company. Uh, you can, like, the amount of companies is not that easy. Even when you go to fast food chains, McDonald's is in a partnerships with a Saudi company. So the amount of that is astonishing. So the problem is not about partnerships. Right now, we're going into the model of a different culture coming here and setting itself up in the Gulf region rather than partnerships. Uh, and there's more new successful partnerships happening, like Saham Capital, and which is a Chinese company actually setting up in Saudi Arabia, and they're showing very great success so far. Within 1 year, they reached 1 million users, which is amazing for an investment platform. Uh, so I think it's just about what are you trying to achieve? Do you know the market you're trying to get into? Do you know the substantial plan that you will have once you go into that market or not?
Great. Thank you for insights, Abdullah. Let's probably talk about the industries, right? Because obviously within the Vision 2030, there are several industries that government of Saudi Arabia want to develop. And Basil, can you please just name several industries that you think that Saudi Arabia right now is interested the most?
Yeah, sure. The most important one is tourism. Tourism as a sector is definitely going to take a lot of development, support, evolution. We are seeing it almost every single day, and the objective is to have 70 million tourists by 2030. We are seeing a lot of increase in the last couple of years. So tourism is definitely one area where international hospitality operators are more than welcome to come and explore partnerships with Saudi partners. Some of these giga projects are basically touristic driven, like Giddiya, Dar'iyya, Red Sea, Amala. Even Neom has certain touristic sites in it. So tourism is one. And then mining. Mining is becoming very, very important now, and especially with the new regulations, the ease of getting a license. The Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources are hosting the most important future mineral forum I have ever seen. You know, with both governmental officials at the ministerial level as well as the heads of the mining companies worldwide. So mining is very, very critical right now, and it's getting a lot of support from the government. Also, healthcare. Healthcare is also, you know, quite needed in certain vaccines, certain, and here healthcare, I mean hospitals as well as drugs companies. So both are on the radar screen for growth and support by the relevant, ministry. Also, another sector that is maybe part of the tourism, if we want to call it religious tourism, is the Hajj and Umrah as well. And Hajj and Umrah now is going through major restructuring as a sector to make it more transparent, more organized, more under corporate governance. So this sector, which is now also going through listing on the stock market, is going to witness a lot of changes to improve that service, which is basically very crucial for millions of pilgrimage coming from all over the world. So these are, in my opinion, are the most key sectors that are driving the majority of the business economies in the country.
Thank you, Basil. I'm absolutely sure, Abdullah, you also want to add something to this list. Last week, me and Tatiana were running the webinar also about the ecosystem in Saudi, and some people asked us, is that actually AI and then deep tech welcomed in Saudi Arabia? Because they thought that it's not the industry or the technologies that Saudi Arabia is interested in. And I'm absolutely sure it was a mistake, but I really want to hear from you from technology perspective, and maybe also you can add some industries that you think Saudi Arabia is very interested in right now.
All right, thank you. You can forget anything about Saudi Arabia if you think Saudi Arabia is not interested about AI or deep tech. It is paramount for Saudi Arabia to have state-of-the-art AI, to have development of AI, seeing innovative solutions coming out of AI, whether they are used locally, globally. It is a focus for the government, for different programs, for even the Ministry of Communication. They have programs for AIs to develop and support AIs, incubators to support deep tech solutions and AIs. So I might believe anything except that AI or deep tech might not be welcome in Saudi Arabia. On the contrary, there are so many different startups in AI that are now functional, whether from local founders or international founders that I've seen in Saudi Arabia now trying some companies. Some of the names doesn't cross my mind right now, but I know someone is creating an AI for call center support that is specified to Saudi dialects. So it would help and solve problems without, being misunderstood or having these glitches, let's call it. So if anything you can take from this webinar, Saudi Arabia is a country that supports AI, deep tech, and wants that industry to flourish, develop, and be a beacon for local and international market.
Thank you, Abdullah. I see that people are commenting here that they are visiting on tour through February, March. As Multiplies, we also organize tours that are catered to different conferences in the region. And our next tour will be February 8th, catered to LEAP. And we are bringing the group of 15 entrepreneurs from all over the world to meet with local investors and giga projects and corporates in Saudi Arabia, and to help build this relationship from scratch, because it's so easy when you can rely on some trustworthy partners in the region. And all of my guest speakers today, they can also help you with that. And my next question is to both of the panelists. What would you recommend to start with? Because right now we understand that Saudi Arabia is welcoming a lot of global companies to join forces and achieve goals of Vision 2030, right? We already know about the industries and technologies, but what would be the first steps? How to start? Where to start from? And maybe you can also mention some conferences that are worth visiting. And Basil, let's start from you and then go to Abdullah.
Obviously, Abdullah said the right thing about the AI and the deep tech, and let me also add to that data centers. We are hearing the giant technology companies are coming to Saudi with a view to set up data centers. And there are 2 or 3 publicly listed companies that are doing data centers, and they are quite expanding and getting mandates on regular basis. So data centers is something that I would highly encourage international companies to start exploring joint ventures in Saudi Arabia. Also, the fact that now we have so many funds, even Aramco is setting up its own fund called Aramco Ventures. This fund, by the way, I don't know if the number is accurate. It's $7 billion, the size of this fund, and it was announced maybe last year in Davos. So Aramco is inviting investors, entrepreneurs to invest in these technology-related oil and gas, sectors. So this is also an area that could be explored in the future. Finally, or last but not least, healthcare. Healthcare, also applying AI to healthcare will be quite needed with all the advancements and the technological developments in treatments, in hospitals being, applying apps and distant, consultancy, also for the advancements of certain drugs. So, healthcare, AI in healthcare is also something that should be explored when it comes to Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Basil. Abdullah, do you have some tips how to make first steps in Saudi for global entrepreneurs?
Well, first tips, honestly, if I recommend you want to know more about Saudi Arabia, who are the incubators, accelerators, VC funds that are in Saudi Arabia, everything related to the ecosystem, I would direct you to a friend of mine. He has a website under his name, Hussein Attar. If you look it up in Google, you'll find his website. And in there, he lists everything related to startup and entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia. Everything included the economy, who provides certain services for a startup, what are the best banks for startups, who are the incubators, the accelerators, the growth VCs, the pre-seed, the seeders. Honestly, it's a treasure trove that is sadly not well known, but I advise you all to go to his website called Hussein Attar, and you'll find an answer more than to any of your questions.
Great. I think that right now it's time to start for our startup roastery, the format that we're trying to do first time. And what we will do right now, we chose 3 startups from all the pitch decks that you were sending us during this week. And let me just add on stage this pitch deck. And I really want to just everyone to look at it. And then we will also comment on that. So I think that the industry itself is great. I like the pitch deck itself. I like the colors and then the design as well. So when I click to this team slide, I see that all the team has very 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 experienced, right? So it's a CEO and founder, and operations and technology and financial officer. Every single one of them have around 30 years of experience. So it looks like the team is fully capable of delivering result in this niche and in this sector. And then I see that this company is not a newborn company, right? So it's like practically 8 years already, and they achieved a lot of significant results, and there is great milestones. And then after that, when I see this slide, I don't understand where this pitch deck is going to, who is the target audience for that, right? So because for this specific industry, this is industry-focused tech company, right? So if you're targeting someone who will be potentially your investor, you probably should know that this specific investor know a lot about this niche, about the market. So I think that this slide is not necessary for your particular type of investor, because you're not targeting investors who are investing in applications, right, or to mental health sector. You are targeting your specific investors. So I think that this slide is extra. I wouldn't recommend to add it. And also this is the same comment for that. And when I opened this slide, and I noticed that there is a question why to choose Saudi Arabian market. So my question to founding team right now, are you trying to sell this idea to an investor, or why this slide is actually popping up here in this presentation? So I'm not sure what was the reason why you decided to add this slide. Is it just you're selling your expertise in Saudi, or you're trying to show that you are very serious about the market? So honestly, that was not very clear. For this slide, I think it is interesting that you added it. And for a lot of companies that are right now global and they're right now trying to open Gulf, I think it is very important to emphasize in the slides what exactly you're trying to contribute in Vision 2030. So this is necessary because every single time when I'm introducing companies to startups, I see that the first question investors are asking is, what is the angle for your company in the Gulf right now, and what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to contribute to, what exactly you are trying to, what value you're trying to add here. So if you specifically emphasize and just dive in details and give the clarity how your company is contributing Vision 2030, this is a good idea for every single company. And so growth metrics are also great, but this is the last slide. So talking about this company, I don't understand how much are you raising right now, and what is your exit strategy, and also what exactly the business here? Like, for example, what are the companies that you are trying to work with in the Gulf or in Saudi Arabia specifically? So I have a lot of questions here. Abdullah and Basil, if you want to also comment on that pitch deck, I would be very happy.
Honestly, I have the same comment as you, especially with the one that says, that shows the map, Riyadh, Tabuk, and tourism. You're an energy company. Why you're mentioning tourism right now? And even if you say, okay, these are the mega projects or giga projects, not really. Al-Ula, okay, it's development as a tourist attraction, but it's not part of the giga or mega projects that you could say Neom, Red Sea, Amala, on the East Coast. So it's a bit fragmented for me. Also on this slide, too many numbers, very small. What's the picture you're trying to show me? The Volterra battery line. Fine, you can put it as an appendix, no issues. Give me the gist of it. And as you said, no numbers. What do you want? What do you need? Why do you need this? How are you going to do this? What are you doing until now? Okay, you said you were since 2014 or 2016. Good. What have you achieved other than opening an office and a research center? So these would be my questions.
Thank you very much. Basil, do you want to add something?
It's a bit confusing. You said they started in 2016, right?
Yes, it's written that they started in 2016. Yes.
And then there is on one of the slides, they said they need $2 million for the first 2 years or something. Could you?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even find this information. It was very, very, probably it's like very little.
Yeah, just flip the other slide. There was a slide saying they are looking for $2 million.
Here, right?
No, it was at the bottom. Yeah, here we are
Yes,
seeking
yes.
$2 million for the first 2 years. What years are they talking about?
Yes. Yeah, probably they developed the company bootstrap previously, and right now they are raising the first round. Looks like that. Yeah, so that are our comments on that. We can probably move to the next one. Basil, do you want to start with this?
Yeah. So this is an app for Southern Africa. Southern Africa includes 10 countries. And me as a financier or as an investor, I always look at the political risk in any country that we are investing in. So if you are telling me this is going to be in South Africa, okay, fine, I take it. I know exactly what to expect from there. But if you are talking about 10 different countries in a, politically, we don't know yet what's going to happen. I would be quite conservative and concerned about investing assets in it. Now, if you are telling me he is connecting owners of trucks with those who are looking for transportation, that would be a smarter way of developing that app instead of investing in trucks in 10 different countries.
Mm-hmm. Abdullah, do you want to add something?
Well, of course, it would be hard to add in anything that Bassem has said, but I totally agree. The geographical regions to the assets that it needs. So it's trucks that needs to move. It's going. I don't understand what's the AI element in it, because I don't think an AI would know if I need this truck right now or not. And if it's a reoccurring thing, that means there's usually schedules for production, ship. Sorry. So I don't know how AI fits in that equation, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I thought it was just an app. Then it seems to be trucks and apps. So it's always a bit confusing, and the colors keep shifting. One time it's yellow, green. It was a bit of a headache, to be honest. But
I highly advise them to visit the website of another truck management company. It's a Chinese company, but they have an office in Dubai right now, and they are managing, I don't know how many thousands of trucks. They don't own them, but they link them. They link the owners of these trucks with the clients who want to transport goods, and they are covering the entire Gulf regions as well as Turkey. And it's one of the most efficient, successful companies I have, come across in that space, in the logistics space. So maybe they should visit that company, and they should visit the website and maybe apply it in these African countries.
Yeah, interesting. I also noticed that it's 4 people and they made $600,000 revenue and they want to expand. It's written here that they want to, within the next 5 months, they want to make more than 4x in revenue. It's very ambitious, to be quite honest. And just because I don't honestly understand what is the technology here, I'm not sure if it's so scalable. Because it's so for now it looks like fairy tale business, to be quite honest, that everyone really want to be in, if it generates such a margin and it is scalable like that. Also, for me, it's a little bit confusing that they are looking for 2 million debt financing, and the use of funds. Honestly, it's a little bit also confusing. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the next company, and it's probably the last company for today. And Abdul, do you want to talk about this one or no? What? You're on mute right now. Yes.
Yeah. So Huan here is a platform that is trying to connect clinics to pharmacies to distributors to have a streamlined operation, so there will be less complications and whatnot. I understand that need. I understand that pain. I understand the issues that it might arise, but if we try to apply it in Saudi Arabia, is it applicable? That would be my first question, because the government is building a unified patient file that would be shared amongst government and private hospitals. So, how does your solution fit into that? Because it would cover all of that, since it is literally an electronic medical document system. It says the market size of healthcare is always huge. It's big. There is no question. Prescriptions will grow. There is no question. However, how is that solution going to fit with the government's unified medical files, which is going to be already enacted to some extent, but should be operational in the coming year. Two, if you go back to the slide before this, okay, it gives me that it's covering everything. It has these connections, and at the same time, they're mentioning rural areas. Rural areas are not really the target segment for telemedicine. And if you go for telemedicine, there are tons of them. Tons, as they mentioned here in their competitors, Cura, Al Habib Hospital, Della Hospital. Health insurance companies are now doing telemedicine just to save themselves the money of paying to the hospitals. Even prescriptions now, insurance companies are covering to do that in their own app. So they would cover the costs or reduce the costs on themselves. So my question here, beautiful design, very clear explanation, but it doesn't tell me really how you're going to function in the Saudi ecosystem in a larger scale. You might function in small scale clinics that are individual clinics, but not in a huge, big hospitals, big number of users, big. So I don't see scalability really with that. And that would be my issue with it, to be honest.
Basil, do you want to add something here?
Well, to be honest, I don't know what they do. What's their competitive edge over so many apps now? Every hospital has its own app, by the way. I mean, I have a file with the Al Habib Hospital, and they have very advanced app. I can even have online consultation if I don't want to go all the way to their clinics. So I don't know. Is there any specific service that they are offering that the current healthcare ecosystem are not offering now?
I think that, to be quite honest, this company will definitely pivot at some point. And the topic that Abdullah, you raised about scalability, I also see it here. But I think that for the stage that they're at right now, and they're raising only $1 million, I think that they have a very good traction. So they have 100 hospitals for now, and then they see the competition, the market. And so I think that for now, at that stage, they are doing great. Yesterday, I was at the demo day at Flat6 Labs Accelerator, and I think that this accelerator also has something similar in the portfolio. Honestly, I don't remember. I do remember that they also showed the slide with the competition. I don't remember that this company was at that slide, and I see this competition slide. I don't see the company from Flat6 Labs portfolio here. So you definitely need to get acquainted with them. Abdullah, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I have a question that kept bothering me since I thought. There is the last line, cooperative insurance model. What does that mean? Are they going to create their own insurance?
Yeah, that's the question to founders. Founders, if you're listening to us here, please drop the message in the chat so that we can follow up on this question on that comment.
Is it B2B or B2C, this app? Are they dealing with hospitals?
It's B2C with an element of D2C, distributor to C and B2C.
Okay.
Not very easy path.
Not at all.
Yes. But yes, I really want to encourage founders to do and to continue doing what they do, because I do believe in this problem. I'm a little bit concerned about the business model right now, and like Abdullah said, about scalability as well. So maybe it will help you guys to join probably 500 Startup Accelerator, or maybe even Flat6 Labs or some other accelerators in Saudi, because it does look like you are great in execution, because at that early stage you managed to link to 100 hospitals. It means that you definitely are know how to do that, but also definitely you need some guidance here. Some of our participants are asking, can we directly send our pitch deck to Mr. Basil and Mr. Abdullah? I think that yes, probably on LinkedIn, or you probably can share what is the best way to communicate with you. So right now we have 10 more minutes, and we have a lot of questions, to be quite honest. Let's do this. Let's just spend 1 minute to each question, so that the more people get at least some information about what they really want. And let's start with this one first. Ali from Egypt is asking, as an early stage startup, do I have to get into a joint venture with Saudi National to start my business in KSA? And
no,
he
doesn't.
Simple answer.
He can apply for a license from MISA, Ministry of Investment, and they are so efficient and they are so welcoming foreign investors on their own. They don't have to have a Saudi partner.
Okay, and another follow-up question. I have a proof of concept to my product and would like to develop and scale up in Saudi Arabia and Gulf. How is a startup in Saudi Arabia could have access to Gulf? Interesting question, by the way.
Well, there are so many funds right now available for startups in Saudi Arabia that also cater for not only the Saudi market, but for the Gulf markets. I can read from my list here. There is Ra'id Ventures, Hala Venture, SVC, Saudi Venture Company, STV, and Aramco Ventures, the one I talked about earlier, and Jeddah as well. Jeddah is owned by the PIF. So these all support local as well as regional startups.
If you allow me, Dr. Bassel and Jenny, finding support and scaling for, let's say, seed stage or pre-seed stage in KSA is a lot. If there is anything missing, maybe in the ecosystem Saudi Arabia in, let's say, capital venture or venture capital, it would be growth VCs, so the 100 million, 200 million expansions, rather than the small early starters. So the scalability, the programs, for example, MISC program for entrepreneurs and startups is they just opened their new cohort, I think a couple of days ago or 3 days ago. You can apply for that. They will give you support, funding and whatnot to help you scale up the startup or the business or the idea.
Great. So I really like the next question from our listener. Is it necessary if my business is registered in India and I already have clients in Saudi Arabia? So I would like to expand my presence in Saudi Arabia. Do I need to register business in Saudi Arabia as well?
Well, if you would like to answer this, Dr. Bassel, or you allow me to do that?
I mean, obviously, to serve the Saudi market, which is the largest market in the region, the most growing market among the G20, you need to have presence in Saudi Arabia. And as you know now, most of the global companies have shifted their regional offices from Dubai or Bahrain or Abu Dhabi to Riyadh. So if you are serious about this market, you have to have a foot in the market.
Yes, I also want to add a little bit here because I think it's also depends on the industry. And some industries, and especially if you work, let's say in healthcare sector, right? You definitely need a presence, 100%. And I remember that I was working with one company and I brought them to Saudi and they had a super app. And as a first step, they partnered with local company, the company that was building software solutions and providing services for different corporates in Saudi. And they created a joint venture. And first, because they really wanted to try the market, to understand how it works, what is the deal cycle, and a lot of other metrics. And so at that stage, they preferred to partner with the software development company to create a joint venture. And they signed several deals. And then after that, they understood that they really want to work with Ministry of Investments, and they also want to provide services for schools and for institutes and for medical centers. So at that stage, for them, it's required to open a company. And I think that to be operationally active for at least 1 year, to be able to provide services to different government-related structures. So I think that honestly, it depends on the industry and also on your strategy, but and also at the stage. Abdul, do you want to add something?
Honestly, I couldn't add any more than you, Jenny, said, and Dr. Bassel. It depends, as Jenny says, what are you trying to do? Is it digital marketing? You really don't need to be here. So it's really dependent on the fact, do you need to scale up? Do you need to be localized? Do you need to be supported in some sort of way, whether it's intrinsic support or financial support? It's a slew of different reasons. And Honestly, I don't think it becomes a question. Once you know that if there is a need for you to exist in a country, trust me, you'll be pushed toward that way. I don't think there's a formula for you to say, oh, no, I need to open. You will be pushed because you'll see certain things that needs to be accomplished to achieve that.
Great. So let's move to the next question. And I really like it because there is a fact about Saudi Arabia that not everyone in the world knows, but 40% of people are younger than 21 age. It means that Saudi Arabia is probably the youngest population in the world. And so the question is that I think that Sergey is working specifically with young people, and because they demand innovations the most. And his question is that what is the proper way to start in Saudi market and to reach this specific audience? Questions to you, gentlemen.
If you allow me, Dr. Bassel, to take this first. To reach this audience, it's simple. It's the same as with every young generation. Social media. There's no question about it. You're talking about people who are under the age of 21. Social media is their life. Games is their life. So that's the easiest way for you to reach that audience. As for to start in Saudi market, you can just start from day one. There is no proper way for you to start. You can start where you are right now, see how things going on, and say, "Oh, okay, it's kind of catching traction. Let's go and move to Saudi Arabia, and let me set it up there officially so I can go and grow." It depends on what you're trying to achieve. If that thing would be, let's say, a strategic reason for you to actually say no, actually the proper way for me to start in the Saudi market is to open within the Saudi market. For other services will be, no, actually, let's just try to deliver that service from abroad and see if there's enough traction, then we will open. So it really depends. But as for reaching the audience of those youth, there is no secret formula. Social media.
Okay, I think that probably let's answer the last question because I think that it's also very important, the ed tech market. I think we haven't talked a lot about it today, but I really want to know your opinion about ed tech market.
Well, if you allow me, Dr. Bassel and Ginny, ed tech market is huge in Saudi Arabia. Case in point, the recent purchase of PwC to Annab, which is an ed tech company. And I'm seeing that is growing and growing from my, let's say, shenanigans at Leap every year. I'm seeing that trend growing more and more and more. More startups are flourishing in the education sector. I'm seeing people trying now to do some sort of a paradigm shift when it comes to education in Saudi Arabia. So it's a very paramount market. There is a strong push from government, from private, whether government, you say government schools and education system, all that, and you have the private schools and all of that. All of them are now pushing in tandem for edtech. They're trying to see what's there. How can we improve? What can we do more? And Saudi Arabia, if you remember, even during COVID, education continued like there is no tomorrow. It was fine. Everybody's moved online from day one. Everybody was happy. Students were learning. There was classes. So edtech is very, let's say Saudi Arabia is a very fertile land for edtech.
Dr. Basil, maybe you have some last words for our listeners, inspiring.
Yeah, I echo what Abdullah said. This is definitely a growing segment of the educational technology sector, and I've seen interviews with certain entrepreneurs who are now developing these apps in the Emirates and in Saudi Arabia. It's again the largest market, and it is quite well supported by the Ministry of Education. So this is a promising sector, and it should entrepreneurs should explore this in different fields of education.
Great. That brought us to the end of our conversation today. We have a lot of questions left, and I think that if you can direct them straight to the LinkedIn of our guest speakers today, they will have some time and probably respond to that. But I also invite all of you today who listen to us to join us at this tour that is catered to LEAP that will be starting at 8th of February. We're running these tours already the second year, and we organized the previous one, which was catered to LEAP, and then in the autumn we organized another one for GITEX. And so right now I invite all of the entrepreneurs who are listening to us today to join it and get acquainted with Saudi ecosystem, because we are trying to build it the way that we introduce you to startup accelerators, to angels, to institutionals, and also to VCs, so that you have the clear picture how Saudi ecosystem is built. And also you will save a lot of time just discovering everything by yourself. And I also invite everyone to join our weekly webinars, because we are running these webinars right now every single week, once a week. Next week webinar will be also on Thursday at the same time, because it's comfortable for all time zones, for America, for Europe, for Gulf region, and also for people from Australia, Pakistan, and India. And I'm very grateful for your time, Abdullah and Basil, for your expertise, for your time, and for your contribution to this Saudi Arabia development. And thank you, everyone, and I'm wishing you an amazing evening.
Okay, thank you, Gina, for inviting us, and good to meet you, Abdullah. Hopefully we'll see you in Riyadh soon, or at LEAP maybe. All right. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.